Married at First Sight, Cast Reunion, Part 1. Honey, we have been bamboozled, deceived, hoodwinked, double-crossed, misled, cheated, duped, and then some this season. These folks were playing in our faces, and I'm going to share some tea that I hinted to in my other video that will, at the very least, give you a glimpse into the plotting that was going on between Cameron and Clarapis. Plus, one of Cameron's ex-girlfriends has spoken out and provided some receipts. Hi, I'm Tamara, and this is Tamara Lynette Tells. This reunion was a whole hot mess. Cameron and Clarapis were going at it over who was the puppet master in their relationship. Emily accused Brennan of being a Janet Jackson because Brennan wants to be the one in control. Control. Becca and Austin were all about the optics. Michael and Chloe were serving up their regular yummy word salad with a side of purple, and Lauren and Orion told things from their point of view as if they just came out of the witness protection program. First things first, the lady said that they were wearing pink to represent female empowerment and to let folks know that they are more than just images on your TV screen. Meanwhile, Sporty Spice over there got kicked out of the group, hence her purple dress. She did not get the memo, text, or phone call. As of today, Chloe and the rest of the girls are not vibing. That's some tea for you. Sip, sip. The seating arrangements for this group was notably different. The men plus Chloe were on one side, and Orion and the Pink Panthers were on the other side. It's as if Orion and Chloe switched seats. But Kevin noted that this was the first time that the couples did not sit together. Anyway, the first scene was like watching a 2-hour whodunit movie in 6 minutes. Shots fired, accusations were flying all over the place, fast and furious. Emily accused the guys of hiding, lying, and Brennan of saying that he would not go to bed until she deleted her diary cam. Now, Brennan admitted to not wanting the producers to come up with a narrative for them, so he wanted to devise a plan on what to say on camera. So he said they all came up with this plan, like the entire cast. Holy crap! Emily said that Cameron was the ringleader. He was the Stephen King who wrote the storylines and the plots. Now, Clarapis was like, yeah, I strategized with you, Cam, but you were the puppet. I was the puppet and you were the master. Girl, of all the times to get your words twisted. Ugh. And Cameron didn't let it go. That was quite the Freudian slip. I would like to respond, but I'm a little taken back. This is my first experience of being gaslit. Child, just because you say it in a nice accent, don't make it true. Sir, you were not gaslit. More on that in a moment. Anyway, he claimed that on their wedding night, they talked about what they asked the experts for, and he said he got what he wanted, but Claire did not. Clarapis was like, I thought you were attractive. You were the one who said you wanted someone who was tall and slender. I'm neither, so you practically spit in my face and tossed me out the door. Now, y'all know I take a little creative liberty with what was said, right? In essence, the girl felt rejected. Now, and then Cameron said on night 2 that Clarapis was crying because she was still in love with her ex-boyfriend and she had sex with him right before the wedding. When Cameron pulled that accusation out of his hat, it felt like a plot twist he watched on The Young and the Restless. This is the problem with lying so damn much. Anything and everything you say is suspect. I don't buy that story for 1 second. Cameron was on Afterparty 100 times spilling kiwi bird tea on what went down between he and Clarapis all season. He said she preferred muscular black men. She manipulated him. She was saying one thing on screen, but pushing him away off the screen. He was telling all their business and was not trying to protect the innocent. But never did he ever even hint that Clarapis was distracted because her heart and booty was with someone else. Now, Clarapis was shocked, and she said he's referring to a conversation where they were talking about the last time they were in love, and she responded by saying that she was in love in her last relationship that ended a year ago. Now, when they met one-on-one with Kevin, Clarapis said that when they woke up after their wedding night and he said, I completely forgot you were there, that he hurt her feelings. Now, I remember commenting on that statement. He was rude to her that morning, but even the night before, he plopped in the bed like a kid in a jumper. And while she was talking, he was like, "Are you still talking?" He did not want to chat to get to know her. He wanted her to shut up so he could go to sleep. Cameron was nothing nice. For the first half of the season, I called him Rudy Patootie Pants for how he spoke to Claripus. He left her behind when they were walking at the airport. He didn't help her with her bags, told Claripus, "Well, you didn't help me with my bags." He had no game, and I accused him of treating her like one of the guys. So back to the reunion. These two are going back and forth on which one of them was a puppet master. Claripus was saying she was trying to be a good wife and follow his lead, while he accused her of being the one who was pulling his strings, and he was going along with her wishes. Look, at the end of the day, both of them were conspiring to deceive the producers and the audience. But then things took a strange turn, and Cameron said that he'd be interested to try and make things work with Claripus. What in the Real Housewives is going on here? He said it was serendipity that they were matched, and it would be dumb not to try and make things work. Now, does that sound like words from a man who was gaslit, hated, pushed aside, and manipulated all season? I'm feeling manipulated right now. Cameron, riddle me this. Is Claripus an evil mastermind gaslighting, in love with her ex-boyfriend, never attracted to you, liar? Or is she the love of your life? I'm going to need some clarity because you're not making sense. And this is one of many clues that Cameron left to prove that he is not a victim of Claripus. Now, let me get into this tea. So there are text messages between Claripus and Cameron that have been shared. I wasn't going to read them because I didn't want to get anybody in trouble, but MAFS fan got her hands on them too and put them on her IG. So, child, the door has been open and I'm going to walk right in and take a seat. I don't know where MAFS fan got the text from. However, I received them from a credible source. So let's get into it. Cameron's texts are in gray and Claripus are in green. Here's what they had to say. There's a loophole. We don't have to get divorced. I'll explain. We can make it like this never happened if you want. I totally caught on. We just don't have to sign it within the 30 days that they asked. Cooking, but we can just pick something up. Or do something super simple? Yeah, she's annoying. The only reason I want to cook is because that takes up time on camera. Fair enough. We will need to push our agenda at some point tonight, or we will have difficulty tomorrow. How do you suggest we do that? Maybe let's get on the same page now that I'm feeling better. It feels like we are going to get stuck in this for a long time. Yeah, good idea. I'll cook dinner tonight. Tomorrow is a potluck with the other couples, so we should start thinking about what to bring. Lauren is out. Yeah, she just texted me and told me Sunday they're both going to meet up with us to tell us. Okay, let's get this bitch done. Remember, from now on, we are cold to one another on camera. The switch has been flipped, and now it's race to the finish. Yeah, it's go time. We've got this. Is Lauren going to be at the dinner? What if we surprised everyone and said we're getting a divorce too? That would really get this bitch done. Yes, and I just told her about our divorce, so this might be the perfect time. I think that's a perfect plan because we let them know we're done and can wrap up our story and explain. Morning, I'm at Whole Foods. What's up? I just gotta call you and see how you were doing, but I won't disturb you during your precious Whole Food time. Haha, can I call you in like 10 minutes? Sure. Fudge! Now that you committed to tomorrow, we will never be out. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving. Cameron, it's only one extra activity. We say we had fun, but it didn't change anything. Boom, over. I'm out. This is way too much. Yep, plan A begins this weekend. So what's your plan? We start talking about kids on camera and our disagreements. The moment the move-in check comes, we cite irreconcilable differences and leave. Thoughts? There will be filming if we want the other checks, but they won't feel 5 days a week. Yeah, we'll chat. I can't do this. Yup. It's way more than I thought. When I get put in a corner, I will do anything to get out, and I mean anything. So green light. I will not involve you in any way, but there is no going back. Once I flip the switch, it's over. Yes, do it. What are you going to do? I'm curious. Nuclear option release. Stay strong. Let the negotiation begin. What if we get full money, but only do one more week of filming? We can now work out what we can ask for. So this was both of them actively working to deceive producers in order to get a check. I don't see victims here. I see co-conspirators. It looks like Cameron was more interested in getting a few checks under his belt before he bounced. But bouncing was his priority. Is it a coincidence that he disappeared for a few weeks? You tell me what you think. Was Clarapis the mastermind behind all of this deception? You tell me what you think. But wait, there's more. Now, earlier in this season, I had a conversation with one of Cameron's ex-girlfriends. Here's some of what she had to say. Now, this first one has to do with Reddit. At the beginning of the season, I read a couple of reactions to posts put up by this same ex. There was a person who pretended to be a friend of Cameron. Given that Cameron had to dig up his mom's best friend's neighbors' children to come on the show and act as his friends, I believe it's safe to bet that it was Cameron responding. Anyway, Cameron was going to sue her for putting up posts on Reddit, then decided that she was being manipulated, so he changed his mind. Here's what he said. You think this could be faked? I had to be shocked back 3 times. I have the scars from the heart surgery. Obviously, our contract is ironclad, so I can't share anything about the show. Please stop contacting me. And he included an EKG for proof. Just so you know, I have no interest in pursuing you. Now that I know Claire and production are behind all this, I place no blame on you. You were tricked, and I'm sorry they pulled you into all of this. But mark my words, the studio is going to pay for all of this. If you have any interest in getting in on the damages, just let me know. I can link up our lawyers. I've got an amazing trial lawyer. Otherwise, goodbye and take care. Oh, and yes, MAFS is an employee of the network, if you were communicating with them. By the way, MAFS does not work for the network any more than I do, which I don't. So I asked his ex what her experience was like being his girlfriend. She said he came on super strong and was great, but then a few months in, it was like a light switch and he just became cruel. Left me lost on a bike trail in the woods on my birthday. Big fan of the silent treatment. Remember, Clarapis claimed that he wouldn't return her calls and texts when he was going through his health situation? Would make snarky little comments or pinch my fat. Speaking of body shaming, on Afterparty, Lauren said that Clarapis told her that Cameron was making negative comments about her body. He said Clarapis' butt was too big and he wouldn't be able to achieve his little happy ending if he had sex with her. Would make up weird excuses when I tried to get him to meet my friends. Well, he doesn't really have any friends. Call his dog bitch and the C word quite frequently. He broke up with me out of the blue over a text message when I couldn't go home for Christmas because my dog was at the emergency vet. So there are some similarities in what Clarapis said she experienced with Cameron. And keep in mind that the ex sent me these messages early in the season before Cam and Clarapis called it quits. Now I'll read 2 more texts and move on. I've been trying to process everything you have said today. It's going to take me some more time to work through. What I've worked out so far is that I've been treating you as one of the guys, as opposed to my girlfriend, as you should be treated. For that, I'm extremely sorry, and I'm going to do everything I can to correct that. Good night. It's not a matter of treating me like a girlfriend. It's treating me like a person. Don't have anything nice to say? Don't go out of your way to neg me. Don't have time to hang out? Don't. I have better things to do. So like I said earlier in the season and in this video, I felt like Cameron was treating Clarapis like one of the guys. Apparently, that's his MO. I think there's a lot we're not seeing to explain why Claire is so standoffish. Based on how he likes to make little digs at people, they're very subtle, but honestly, my self-esteem was in the toilet after that relationship because it just chips away at you over time. So in one of the previous texts, the ex said that Cameron broke up with her over text message. Here's the text he sent her. And by the way, all this happened in 2017. Okay, well, let me know when you know how she's doing. Poor thing. I was going to talk to you about this tonight, but thinking about it, I'd like to give you a heads up before we talk in person. I have a large amount of guilt over the way our relationship has been in the past couple of months. I'm not sure why I have been so emotionally unavailable for us, but you don't deserve to be treated this way. I've been feeling this way for a while. I haven't said anything about it before because as much time as I put into trying to understand it, it's still a mystery to me. Unfortunately, my last relationship was the same way, and it's hard to come to some conclusions about yourself that aren't good ones. In addition to this, I have to make a decision if I want a career again, which per recent offer means I would have to move to Maryland. So I'm essentially saying that I don't think being in a relationship right now, especially given the way I've been treating you, is a good idea. So this ex, she admits that she had anxious attachment issues back when she was dating Cameron, so that's why she hung in there longer than she should have. For those of you who are Team Cameron, I'm curious to know if you have doubts now. Like maybe he wasn't the victim of Clearpus like he would have you believe. I'm not saying that Clearpus was an angel. She was definitely an active participant in this big lie that the entire cast seemed to agree to. But based on the text and even Cameron wanting to get with Clearpus after the fact leads me to believe that Cameron is very well versed in gaslighting and manipulation. That's all I'm trying to say. Moving on to Austin and Becca. Becca is sticking to her claim that he wanted to avoid talking about their problems on camera. And he said, anytime you said you wanted to talk about something on camera, I agreed. But it sounds like she was the one to have to bring it up, though. Now, they showed the after-party clip where he said he normally takes 3 to 6 months to have sex. Becca said she had many conversations about timeline with him, and he never straight out told her he needs 3 to 6 months. If she knew that, she would have backed off. Now, we didn't see him deny not telling her. For me, after hearing about this big lie by the entire cast, I think Austin was overwhelmed by the process, the cameras, the lies, and not fully being into Becca. I never felt like he was as into her as she was into him. Now, she said she never felt like a priority. The breaking point for her was him going out with the producer and not inviting her and lying about it. Now, throughout this conversation, Austin could barely get his words out. It was like a bad cell phone connection. I felt she was attractive, but I wasn't ready to progress physically. Say it with your chest. Get those words out, sir. When Kevin asked if there's a chance for them to have a conversation, even off camera, for them to talk things out, Becca said she doesn't trust to have a conversation with him. She needs a couple of years for the cameras to go away. Meanwhile, after their segment, they went into a dressing room and gave each other a big hug. So she told the girls that he said that she could have gone even harder on him than she did, and he thanked her for not. While at the same time, Austin was sitting in the dressing room crying. I believe Austin was not cut out for this show, and definitely not this cast. It felt like he was trapped and didn't know how to get out of this bad situation. Chloe and Michael. So she said she was determined to make it work with whomever was at the end of the aisle, but it was harder than she thought it would be with the camera crew there. I keep saying this, but they need to scale down the production of the show so the contestants don't feel like they are on a soundstage filming a sitcom. Anyway, Chloe felt like Michael wasn't in this for the right reasons from the beginning. The reason she thinks that is because after their wedding, they were in the car waiting, and she asked him, "So, what's my new last name?" And he says, "There's no need to change your name." And then him not telling his mom and saying it's for cultural reasons, like added to Chloe's doubt. So he claims he doesn't recall saying the not changing her last name the way she repeated it. And he thinks he gave her examples of hyphenated names and other options she could use. But Chloe was sitting there like shaking her head like, no, that's exactly how you said it. So he said he didn't tell his mom, but he told the rest of the family. All the more reason to tell your mama before somebody else does, honey. He still claims he said no on decision day because they hadn't built a strong enough foundation to build a marriage. And while he regrets saying no, what he regrets is that he felt that way. Felt like he needed to say no. I still wholeheartedly believe that there's more to his no and reason why he said no. He just doesn't want to say. Now, right now, it feels like Chloe was the only one this season who didn't try to game the system. Now, she may not have been realistic in expecting to find a Farmer John who wanted to raise 5 troubled teen foster kids with 300 animals, but child, at least she was honest about it. Or was she? Ooh-wee, this cast has got me all twisted. So then Kevin met with all the wives. Now, initially, the Pink Posse were blaming the men for gaming the system, and they were going along with their husbands in order to be good wives. Now, Kevin pointed out that they all are strong women and they could have pushed back. Now, I agree because none of these men are scary. Like, if a fist fight broke out at a bar, I feel like the wives would come out swinging to protect their husbands faster than these husbands would have for their wives. Cameron? So Claire said she was trying to protect Cameron and didn't want the public to see what she saw. Girl, he's a grown man. If he's going to cut up and act a fool on camera, that's better for you so the public can see why you called it quits so early, girl. Now, Lauren did take responsibility for not speaking up and just going with the flow, but their bottom buddies affair only lasted 7 days. There was no flow to go with. Meanwhile, Becca posed her conspiracy theory that the men decided not to have sex, except for Michael, of course, but the rest of the wives were confused by all of this. But we've talked about this before. Lauren and Orion didn't last long enough to complain about not having sex. Cameron and Clarapis were a hot mess from Jump Street and ended it too early. So that just leaves Austin and Brennan left to conspire. But Brennan seemed to have checked out right after the honeymoon. And I got the impression that it was always going to be a no for Austin all along. So he probably didn't want to go there with Becca and mislead her. Now, Emily thinks Brennan used her accident to come out of this season looking good. Yeah, except he didn't, walking around taking credit for saving her life every 10 minutes. So she broke down crying because she was very vulnerable at the time and feels like he let her on. Now, they did seem to be vibing there for a minute after her accident, but I can't say that for sure because everyone was playing games for the cameras. How much of that was real and how much of that was for the cameras? Now, it's obvious that the 50 Shades of Pink crew came locked and loaded and are ready to fight. But they had already admitted at the beginning of the show that they all agreed to play the game. These ladies were so mad, as if they would have had a beautiful, poetic love stories if it hadn't been for the men wanting to look good on camera. Like, seriously, Lauren, do you really feel like Orion was your morning star? Clarapis, do you think Cameron's kisses were like a burning flame? Emily, when you looked at Brennan, was his smile like a gentle breeze? And Becca, was the joy of your love for Austin the subject of all your tears? Y'all are mad at these men, but you forgot your relationships were never going to work out to begin with because the odds were always in favor of you being matched with someone who was your complete opposite and a person you would never give the time of day to in real life anyway. So why are you mad? You don't even want these men. So finally, Kevin met with Emily and Brennan. Now, Brennan claims that it felt like the right thing to do after realizing that they weren't a good fit was to protect Emily by not airing their dirty laundry. And how did that work out for you, sir? Emily and the experts were practically begging you to speak your truth, man. Now, clearly she wasn't looking for your protection. Or, child, maybe she was, because what we saw on camera was a sham. Now, they showed clips of how controlling Brennan was during their Dr. Pia visits. He apologized to Emily and said, "If I made you feel like I was being controlling, I didn't mean it." Yes, you did. You meant it. You just admitted to wanting to control the narrative to protect her. These two in particular felt like a toxic couple by about day 3 of their marriage to me. They never should have been matched. Their anger needs to be towards producers, not each other. I believe this season of having 4 couples playing games to make it through to the end just shows how badly they need to change how they produce this show. I know most of you might be mad at the cast, but I blame producers and the formula they keep repeating season after season to create this show. They need to be better storytellers and stop guiding conversations. Stop telling them what to talk about before they roll the cameras. Stop forcing them to beat their problems to death by making them overanalyze them all day and every day. Why can't they talk about good times? Stop having a 7-person production crew show up to their apartments every morning. Tuck those cameras away in less conspicuous spaces and allow these people to carry on normal conversations and get to know each other like regular dysfunctional people do. The cast is creating fake storylines because you're treating them like actors. Ooh, these producers got my pressure up. Well, allegedly, they've made some changes for next season in Chicago. I'd be interested to see if any of these changes are drastic enough to make a difference. In the meantime, we still have part 2 of the reunion and Where Are They Now episodes to go. I am so ready to put this season behind us, but that's all I have for now. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next video!